Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 One Club story from Hemel Hempstead Town with me, Daniel. It's part 38 today, and after the drama of a busy transfer window, including deadline day last time out, we are back to try and find some form in League 2 because after a positive start to the season, we're just starting to show signs of the same problems again. They're just starting to resurface, and we're going to have to watch how we go on here. So if you're looking forward to finding out how we do today in two very different games. Firstly, promotion chasing Tranmere, managed by Kenny Jackett, chasing top spot in the league, just 4 points behind. And in Salford, who are on 9 points fighting at the other end. If we can avoid defeat against sides like that, we keep them at arm's length early in the season. At the moment, we look a comfortable mid-table side, but we're only 2 points ahead of the tally we had at this point last season, and we all know how that ended up finishing. So if you want to see how we get on, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on for daily FM22 content. Of course, most of you know by now it's been a massive week in the head coach. You can find a link to the last summer up in the eye above. Please do catch up with that one if you've missed any of it. And we're doing well in our Ashes Test series, which you can see up there too. Thank you to everyone who's given that one a try. There's also a link to the Football Podcast channel where there's festive fun coming early next week. And of course the Twitch channel for regular live streams too, which will continue over the festive period. Keep an eye on the community page for the stream updates. But let's go and get into this episode because we've got two very big games. And we are just starting to have our first mini crisis of the season, albeit our poor form has largely been during international breaks where we're missing 2 or 3 players. But let's have a look at the schedule for what's happened since you were last with me. And it's been a bit of a mixed bag. It's been inconsistent, it's been what we expect, but there are positives here compared to last year. We are still in the league unbeaten at home, and when we've played sides in the bottom half or expected to finish lower in the table, we've beaten them pretty convincingly. And then when we played a big promotion contender like Lincoln with great players, we nicked a 1-1 draw. Away from home, much the opposite in terms of problems. A draw at Morecambe, but then defeats elsewhere. And we look a little bit susceptible at the back there too. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. It was about this time last season where the defensive record started to go. So we'll be hoping we don't lose that early season momentum again. Back-to-back 3-1 defeats, but let's go through all of the results since you were last with me. A 2-0 win at home against MK Dons in the EFL Trophy. Lewis Brunt and Jordan Ibe making his first appearance after injury, getting a goal off the bench. A good 0-0 draw at Morecambe followed before a 3-1 victory at home to Grimsby, the side who survived on the final day last year. Garbutt, Hazeman and Frostlang got the goals there. Both of the first two were free kicks actually. A 1-1 draw at home to Lincoln. We kept Ashley Fletcher quiet, a star in our championship team with Derby over on Twitch. Javan Malcolm got the early goal to get us a point there. A 1-0 defeat away at Rochdale in a game we played pretty well in. A 3-1 victory at home to Sutton, a very good result. Brandon Brian Moore, who's just signed a new contract, got the first, before Scott Egan and Jovan Malcolm added the other two. Ben Friel scored against us, which for those who followed the head coach will know we had him briefly in our stint at Kefan Druids, a very good player nonetheless. Let's move on to the last two fixtures that have been 3-1 the other way round. A 3-1 defeat at home to Leyton Orient, 2 late goals conceded in the EFL Trophy, Luke Armstrong getting a goal for us in that one, and a 3-1 defeat away at Port Vale. We conceded virtually every chance against us, but the positive, Jordan Stevens back to fitness and got his first goal for the club too, albeit still a very poor rating. The big problem we've got at the moment is we've had a lot of injury and international problems. So McDonough's been away for a lot of the season or injured, which means Brian Moore's gone out to right back, Kobe Rowe in the middle. That's not really worked out. So we'll be looking for another right back to add to the squad. And Ryan Boot in goal. Been awful. I'm almost tempted to bring Gregory back in, but he's unhappy at the moment, so we'll see what happens there. Add to that now the fact that we've got midweek games for all of the next 4 weeks. This is a spell where over the next 3.5 weeks and the next 8 games, we're going to learn an awful lot about what to expect this season. Yes, we're sitting pretty in 11th at the moment, but it does not take much for that to turn into a relegation scrap. We're only 7 points clear. A lot of those sides have got games in hand. This could yet become a very tricky season. Let's go and get a bit closer to finding out if it will be by facing Tranmere away from home. In between the games, we'll go and have a look for a right back that might be able to help us out, certainly as a backup option at least. And we'll try and get a few more of these players out the club. A lot of those reserves still there, a little bit unhappy. And it is harming us both financially and in terms of dressing room atmosphere. So let's go and pick our 11. McDonough should be back for this one. And hopefully we can get back to at least a positive result even if that isn't a victory. And here we go. Interestingly, a few of our players, particularly midfielders, just starting to get interest from other clubs now. So Scott Egan obviously will try and hold on to. He's a brilliant defensive midfielder now. But Davey and Brunt, if we get good offers, we have to accept them, I think. The 11th for today in full, though, is Ryan Boot between the sticks. He is now dropping down and he's barely better than David Gregory. So I'm not sure what we're going to do on that front. It is suggesting he's better as a supporting sweeper keeper. So we'll try it, just in case. We've got to give it a go. McDonough's back in at right back. He's been sorely missed in recent games. Marshall's had his injury troubles, but he's back alongside Brian Moore at centre-half. Luke Garber out at left-back today. Egan, Davey and Hazeman, the midfield trio. We've just dropped Davey to a support duty to try and stay comfortable on the road. At home, we can push him on if we need to. And in the front three is Stevens, Ross Lang, who's on the left-hand side, with Jovan Malcolm up front on his own. Joseph back from international duty, but a heavy match load keeps him out. Much the same for Nydam, who scored his first international goal. Let's go and get into the first ever double header and just see if we can shock the odds at Tranmere. Well, McDonough in for Rowe is the only change from the last league game, as well as the tactical one between the sticks. Jacob Davenport, Zanzala, both into the Tranmere side. They're a very strong squad, and to be fair to them, they should be. They're one of the promotion favourites. We're going to tell the lads there's no pressure on them. We might start positive, but I'm almost tempted to drop to balance, because that seems to be the difference maker this year. As it is, though, we want to try and get on the front foot with our strongest squad available. That throw from McDonough's not going to help. Gives it straight away to Merry. Hungbo to Davenport, to Watson. Back into the centre-half, and already Tranmere moving the ball quickly, sharply, and effectively as well. They're finding their targets each time. It's an awful mistake from Brian Moore. Young shoots. It's through Boot again. I cannot explain to you how many of those shots Ryan Boot has let in. And he's the first keeper I've seen like that. He's supposed to be a big upgrade. His attributes are fantastic. But I think I might have to bring Gregory back in because he very rarely made those errors. We're going to drop to a balanced mentality. We're going to berate the lads again. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. It's been a very poor 25 minutes. It's getting very frustrating that we continue to concede the same goal over and over again. As Marshall's given away a free kick, he's having a poor game. You can see the confidence is on the floor. Boot makes a good save this time, but at the back, there's some work to do. It's the same defensive errors creeping in. Letting balls bounce over the top, drifting through the keeper, silly fouls, and all of them major concerns. As Morris finds Ryan Watson, back to Melbourne. And again, Tranmere extremely confident in possession, running rings round us. As Young's released, he might be offside, but he's not. It's 2-0 before the break. And I know Tranmere are one of the best in the league, but if anyone thought after the last couple of episodes we might be promotion contenders or even playoff contenders, think again. Survival is very much the aim still. As Merry throws in from the left to Hungbo. Back to Davenport. Here's Merry again to Melbourne. Into Watson, and it's like a training session. We're barely able to compete. Malcolm's picked up a knock near the front by the looks of it. As Garbutt heads away to Ross Lang. Tries to release Malcolm here. It'd be a lovely time to score. Malcolm gets the free shot on goal. But not the same clinical edge that they've got at the other end. It's 2-0 at the break. We've really struggled. And it's been a pretty poor performance in truth. So we're going to tell the lads that we want more than that. I'm sorry. It's not been a good performance. It was one of the worst halves of football we've produced. We're going to make a double sub, really send out a message. Zedende on for Malcolm, Stevens off for Armstrong, and we'll push Davey into an attacking duty too. 45 minutes to go here at Tranmere. Let's see if we can find a bit of cutting edge. Though straight away, it's a corner kick for Tranmere. Didn't take long. Egan heads away, but they're first to every second ball. They're first to every bit of possession, every challenge. Watson heads in again. It's getting embarrassing. I don't know where these defensive displays have come from because we've been very good at the back for a month and a half. And it was a similar pattern last season. We started really well defensively and it just dried up at the wrong time. We're going to make a change at centre-back because Marshall's been awful. I'm going to bring on Kobe Rowe for him. But I don't see a way out of this. We've not been completely outplayed. Tranmere haven't created 3 great chances. They've just scored easy goals and Ryan Boot, maybe giving him the captaincy was an issue. It was a mistake because he seems to be really struggling with the pressure. And I think we're going to have to drop him for the next game. It's just not worked out. It's nearly 4. Another free header in the box. Set pieces, something we were really strong from the first 6 weeks. We've got a massive side. And now, every chance against us is a free header. Tranmere win 3-0. It was a very disappointing performance, and we're going to need to be an awful lot better than that in midweek. A home to a Salford side who should be one of the sides we compete to finish above. A side that we should really be keeping the unbeaten home record against. But away from home, we've got to find a solution because this is utter tosh. We've got enough centre-halves to maybe play a back three. We can maybe go to a back four with a 4-1-4-1 and play a bit more defensively, but I don't really want to take all of our attacking threat and try and play for a 0-0. It's not my style. But let's see how we can react in midweek and which players are going to be fit for Salford. And we are back for the second game of the day. We've got some news off camera to get through. The first bit involves this man, Riley Harbottle. We made him skipper in the summer, and he's since thrown his toys out the pram, which probably isn't helping the dynamic either. But we have now accepted 2 offers for him. And just to show the quality we were trying to compete with last year when we stayed up, Brackley and Weston-super-Mare are in the north and south respectively, so 2 tiers below coming in for him. Hopefully he'll join one of them. Kolkapekwa, the other first choice last year, has joined Dartford. They are in the Vanarama National League South. So again, perhaps showing the achievement we had in staying up last year. He's really declined this year though, and he's now left the club too. So a couple of the unhappy players out. We've done the dressing room chat, the team meeting to try and pep the lads up. And we have now got a couple less players unhappy. David Gregory, I'm going to have to bring him back in today. Because Ryan Boot has played so poorly, I don't feel I've got a choice. But we did also have an FA Cup draw off camera as well. We got Spennymoor of the National League North. A side we used to draw quite a lot in the FA Cup and the FA Trophy, if I remember rightly. At Spennymoor, in the first round at home. I mean, on paper, it's the type of draw you would have wanted, isn't it? Whether it works out that way or not is another question. But for us, we've got to worry about a big game at home to Salford. A side who, realistically, are one of those we're competing with at the minute. We've got a few games in quick succession, Spennymoor not helping that now. If we look at League 2, just look how tight it is. Everyone's closing up, so we're now just 5 points ahead of Solihull in 23rd. Sutton have got a game in hand on the same number of points at the bottom, and everyone else is on 10. So conceivably, if all of the fixtures were in line and everyone else was playing at the same time as us and against opposition above and 1, we could actually drop into the bottom 3 or 4 in the next couple of games. Salford at home, one of those we've got to get a result. Got to keep them behind us. And got to break this duck. It's 4 defeats in 5 in all competitions. But our unbeaten home record is up for grabs here. We've got to try and keep it. Let's go and pick our 11, see who's fit, and see who we want to bring into the team. So not going overboard with the changes today, but we have freshened things up slightly. We've made the change we said in goal. David Gregory comes in for Ryan Boot, who's just started awfully. So if Harbottle does go, we'll give the captaincy to someone else in this 11, and then Boot should be back to as good as new after. That's the plan with it. What we're going to do in midfield is bring on Armstrong on the right wing for Stevens, because he was the key figure at the start of the season when we were doing well. And we're just going to make sure we're as strong as possible. We've not made wholesale changes. We've not overreacted. In fact, one more I will make is Joseph in for Lang on the left wing because he has been the better performer this year. But in terms of the squad, we're not getting overexcited. We're going to try and keep it as similar as possible. So I think it's just the 3 changes, the 2 wingers and the keeper. It is. Not many changes to the bench either. Let's see if we can beat Salford. This is a massive game, even this early on. And here's the Salford lineup. They've got a skipper in goal as well in the shape of Tom King. Some good players in that side. Liam Shepherd's still there at right back, but the likes of Glenn Ridley on loan. Marcus Brown's a very good player. There's some quality and there's something we've got to be careful of. Connor Washington on the bench. Jason Lowe's still there. He's on the bench. Tom Scully there too. So it's a side where the bench could probably get into our 11, but we've got to try and do the job at home. We've generally been very good at Kenilworth Road this year. But early doors were under pressure. Free kick for Salford. McDonough heads away. Should be taking advantage of that height from set pieces. As Gibbs gets to the right. Back to Shepherd. Into the back post for Windsor. Oh, it's all starting to fall apart again. I mean, you all said it at the start of the season, and I agree. We've upgraded this squad hugely. We started really well. It was so promising. Not just the fact that we were getting results, but the way we were playing. And it has dried up so quickly. I don't really know what to make of it. Luke Armstrong has now picked up an injury, so that's the end of Jordan Stevens' rest. This is becoming a big problem very quickly. Quarter of the game gone, we've not laid a glove on them, and they've got to throw on the left again. Ridley gets it down the line from his defender. Plays it to Hackney and Gibbs. And again, another side that look like they can keep the ball all day against us. We're not really putting much pressure on. As Tom King can play out from the back. Big ball over the top towards Windsor. McDonough heads clear to Stevens. Inside to Davey. He's an attacking central midfielder. We don't want him that deep in our defensive third. McDonough finds Marshall and Egan to Hazeman. Out wide to the left to Joseph. But again, a little bit isolated. Garbett not up in support very quickly. Joseph gets to the byline though. Puts in a great cross. Oh, Teddy Davies missed an open goal. You can't miss that. If the keeper comes back and makes a wonder save, then great. But you can't miss the target. 1-0 Salford. It's their only shot on target. With 5 to the break, they won't care. As it stands, we're heading back to a relegation battle and another tough season in League 2. Though Garbett is trying to change it with a cross from the throw-in over the top to Davey, who heads over the bar. Maybe that's what we need to solve. Get a big 6'4" brilliant striker in that right centre midfield role. Hemel Hempstead 0, Salford 1 at half-time. It's not been a bad performance. We just haven't looked like scoring. And Salford, the much more ruthless side going forward. And they're back in possession very early here in the second half as Ridley is challenged by Garbutt. It falls for Gibbs though. Ridley again turns his man out wide to Reed on the left into the back post. Hines heads in. I mean, that chance that Hines has just scored there is the one Davey missed in the first half, and that's the difference. And we cannot defend these at the minute. We only conceded more than one a game, once in the first 9, I think it was. And now it's every match. The confidence has gone and we just cannot get the momentum back here. Hazeman brings it away in centre midfield to Garbutt. Out to Joseph on the left wing. Running into a blind alley and is forced backwards. Garbutt releases Hazeman. Up towards Malcolm. He's got Davey running off him. Surely got to score one eventually. But he hits it from too far out and it's a pretty feeble effort. We just need that extra bit of quality in front of goal. Malcolm's playing poorly again. He's had a really bad start for us. And all of the big summer signings are drying up very quickly. The momentum, it's not there. And maybe we've got to look to the coaching team because that's the area we weren't able to improve so much this summer. And maybe it's the one that needs work now because at the moment, these lads aren't offering anything. And Salford, despite the stats, are having a very comfortable day. Let's go and make a couple of other changes. We're going to bring off Malcolm for Victor Sedende, who hasn't scored in God knows how long. Davey will be replaced by Tristan Nydam, and we'll try and make that work. But we're going to go attacking. We're going to demand more from the lads. But I don't see us getting anything out of this. 15 minutes to go. And if we're going to come back, the goal has to come now. We have to get one back before the last 10 minutes. As Joseph comes down the left wing. 4 in the box if he can deliver. Victor Sedende's one to Hazeman. Back to Nydam. There's his first goal for us. He's played much better in that role. And where Davey was missing chances, Nydam's taking them. We've got 13 minutes to get back on terms. And from where we were, a point wouldn't be a bad result here. It would certainly stop the rot. As Brown picks it up in the middle to Hendry. Just keeping that unbeaten home record would be something to build the confidence from. As it's over the top to Washington, straight from the kickoff. Gregory comes and deals with it. And he's played really poorly here too. So maybe there is a problem tactically this year with the keeper. I'm going to have to look at it. As King plays out from the back for Salford. Big ball over the top. Hines brings it down from Garbutt. We look so poor. We're running out of steam as well. 2 games a week. It's into Washington. Every time Salford attack, they look like scoring. And this has happened 3 or 4 games in a row. We've actually not been outplayed. The stats have been even. We've been better, if anything. Just like here, we've edged it. But every single time our opponent comes forward, it's a massive goal threat. And it's something that has to be addressed. I don't know how we do it. We're losing virtually every game 3-1. And we have got big problems because we're back in a relegation scrap. And after the improvement and the investment we made last summer, that's not acceptable. Just 4 points off the relegation zone now. Sutton have got a game in hand too. And I'm looking over my shoulder again. It did not take long. Luke Armstrong out for 5 weeks at a minimum. We're going to use the club doctor because I don't want to waste £2,500. But that is not what we were expecting today. I thought we'd keep the unbeaten home record. But the confidence, you can see it. It's shot to bits after just a few defeats. I'm going to have to drill into the data hub and make changes because we can't accept this. We cannot be back in a relegation scrap again when we've nearly doubled the wage budget, brought in loads of quality players, and seemingly improved no ends. We have to have that form in us somewhere that we showed on the first day of the season, that we showed even 4 games ago against Sutton. But I don't know where it is and I don't know how to unlock it at the minute. For now though, my focus is finding form again. We've shown it in patches this year. We were brilliant for a month and a half. But look at this, if we go back. Take out the Bradford game, that weird one in the last episode. And even that was only because we weren't allowed to make subs due to a technical glitch. We only conceded 1 goal in most of the games. The next time we conceded more than one was Leyton Orient. And we've now conceded 4 games in a row. There's got to be a solution. I will find it. I will sort out the goalkeeping problems. If you're looking forward to finding out whether we can and what sort of battle we'll be in next time we come back, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments if you've got any ideas how it's dried up so quickly. There's not even been any updates to FM, so I can't go and blame that for my lack of form. If you want to stay up to date, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. It's of course a massive week in the head coach. You can keep up to date with that up in the eye above. That will be back tomorrow before this one in 2 days' time. Please do check out the other playlists in the meantime. Note, you've got Cricket 22 up in the eye above, as well as the podcast channel where there's festive fun to come, and the live streams over on Twitch too. But a big thank you for watching, your continued support as always. We've got our first crisis of the season. What we've got to make sure is it doesn't last 15 games like the ones last year. I'll see you next time to find out if we've avoided it.